Doctors think 5-year-old girl has tumor, turns out she's pregnant. To make your day just that little brighter, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by these heartwarming stories every day. Comment "I subscribed" and we'll feature some of you in our next video. Becoming a parent at a very young age is perhaps one of the most difficult situations a person could ever be faced with. Raising a child takes commitment, discipline, stability, money, etc. Most young people only possess one of these factors if they're lucky, due to them only just getting a taste of what the real world is truly like. But in the case of this 5-year-old girl, she didn't even know what the watered-down version of the world that most children her age experienced on a daily basis was like before she'd be hit with something that would go on to shock the entire world. No one could have ever predicted a story like the one 5-year-old Lina Medina will have following her around for the rest of her life. Lina Medina was born and lived in a small village up in the Andes Mountains located in the country of Peru. Her family was quite poor and really struggled a great deal just to be able to get by. Despite the situation, Lina was a very happy child and learned from a very young age to make the absolute most out of everything she did have, rather than focusing on the things she didn't have. But around the time she turned 5 years old, all of that took a huge turn in the opposite direction, and her life going forward would never be the same. Shortly after turning 5 years old, Lina began to feel off. She began feeling overly tired and often found herself experiencing severe nausea. Even with her family struggling to provide basic necessities, they always made sure that she and the other children in the family always had food to eat and a roof over their heads, so this couldn't be the cause of Lina not eating and suffering from malnutrition. The tiredness and nausea showed no signs of going away as time went on, but they became easier for Lina to deal with because she just learned to live with them. But the worst was yet to come. As the months went on, a mass began to develop around her stomach area on her abdomen. Her tiredness and nausea were now also becoming progressively worse. It got to the point where Lina could no longer enjoy going outside to play by herself or with friends. She also had to frequently miss school due to feeling so bad and not being able to make it through any of the lectures. Lina's parents finally had enough and thought that it was time to bring their daughter to see a doctor. The longer they waited, the worse Lina's condition could become. When the doctor had a look at Lina's stomach area where the mass had started growing and heard about the other symptoms she was experiencing, he immediately thought that she had some type of abdominal tumor. Given Lina's age, symptoms, and living arrangements, this was the most logical conclusion any medical professional would be able to come to. However, when he fired up the X-ray machine to confirm his diagnosis, he realized it was much worse than he could have ever imagined. Lina did not have an abdominal tumor. Instead, it turned out that she was 7 months pregnant. The mass growing around her abdomen was indeed an unborn child that she had been carrying around this whole time. Needless to say, Lina's parents were absolutely shocked and mortified that something like this could happen to their daughter. When questioned, Lina claimed to not know anything about why or how this could have happened to her. It's unclear whether or not she was scared to come forward due to being scared of the other person involved, or scared because everyone around her was making this out to be such a huge deal, making that factor alone enough to deter her from coming forward with any information. Lina went on, at the age of 5 years old, to give birth to a baby boy. Despite her age, she was concluded to be healthy enough by doctors to have a birth via cesarean. Not much else could have been done because of how far along the pregnancy was after it had been diagnosed. It's safe to say that the little girl wouldn't have been able to have a natural birth due to her age anyway. Lina's son, who was named Gerardo, unfortunately only went on to live until he was 40 years old after suffering from a rare bone disease. When Lina turned 39 and after she had gotten married, she went on to have her second son, whose name was hidden by Lina due to the world knowing about her story from back when she was 5 years old.